welcome everyone to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I am your hardcore host, Rick Head, and I'm joined by the hardcore crew. First, she is a lovely, vicious vixen, Zoe. Zoe, how we doing?
Doing good. I can't wait until the first of the year is over.
It's almost there, honey. It's almost there. And then from Lance Moss TV, he's the incredible Lance Moss. Lance, what's going on?
Not too much, just riding out these holidays.
It's almost over. And last and certainly not least, from the Scullin Realms, he's the Lord Skull himself, Joseph Knight. Joe, what's going on?
Not much. Let's see what kind of news you have, because I got to get the end of the year here with something I got to rant on. So let's go.
Well, you're talking about the end of the year, and it's AEW's World's End is what we're pretty much going to be covering first. So, yeah. And James Kennedy, I'm back. Welcome back, James. And the Reverend Jake Slayer. Phil still sucks. Absolutely. Appreciative and quiet, Jake. Man, you know what? Although, real quick, since we brought it up, I cannot believe that people like all psyched up that Phil Brooks beat Dominic Mysterio. Wow. At a house show, no less. You know, it's like he had his WrestleMania moment. He can retire now, guys, don't you think?
Please.
All right. Well, the first thing we got to do about World's End, we had this Continental Classic to really, it needs to be tied up. Over in the gold section, Jon Moxley, Swerve Strickland, and Jay White will battle in the three-way match tonight on Dynamite. And then also, Bryan Danielson will also face Eddie Kingston to win the Blues division. So, picks here, guys. I'm going to go over to you, Zoe.
Well, obviously, you know my pick for the gold team. It's going to be Jon Moxley. And I think for blue, it's going to be Bryan Danielson.
You know what? And that's actually would be a pretty interesting fight, considering they're both in the BCC, you know. All right. Joe, over to you.
You know, I really do like Swerve Strickland. If you've seen a couple of his matches, he's been going straight forth. He hasn't really relied too much on outside interference. But we're talking about the elite of the elite. And as much as I like Swerve Strickland, I got to go with the same predictions. I got to say it's going to be Moxley versus Danielson.
All right. Lance, how about you?
Okay, for the blue, it's Danielson versus Kingston, right?
Correct.
I actually kind of want to see Kingston get this one.
All right.
And in the gold, I little something to say about how they ran the gold.
All right.
Tony, you didn't have to job Mark Briscoe all the way the hell out with booking this. You could have gave him a couple more damn wins. You didn't have to have him win the damn thing, but you could have gave him more than one fucking win. But that being said, I'm going with Mox.
Let me just add this. You know, he did get jobbed a lot, but most of the time, notice, when a person gets jobbed, especially how bad they jobbed him, one, he had to okay it. Two, I see it as a way for him to win a singles belt in Ring of Honor. So just think of it. Yeah, he's being jobbed out now, but imagine whoever wins, he'll get a shot and probably win a big belt.
All right. Jake Slayer said he saw a show on Vice, and MVP had nothing but good things to say about Swerve. And, you know, right now, of course, he's the heel, so he's going to pick all the dirty moves. But obviously, he has no problem in AEW because he's, as Joe said, he's moving forward. Even though he's still apparently, well, aside from this Continental Classic, he still is the heel. But you know what? Everybody loves a good heel. And I have to say, I've become a fan of Strickland. Honestly, if you have to ask me, I'd like to see Strickland win this and then have him go against Bryan Danielson. Because they're two total opposites. So I think I'd like to see that happen. But who's going to actually win the whole thing? You know what? As Joe said, I'm going to give it to Strickland. So let's move on from there. Then we had the AEW's Women's Champion, Timeless Toni Storm, like we all give a shit, versus Riho. For me, now, Riho has already won the titles before. How she did it, I don't know, because she's like 4 foot nothing, and, no disrespect, Zoe, because I know you'll kill me from, like, way down south. But I just...
Rick, choose your words wisely.
I'm trying to. So you know what? I'm going to just say I see Toni Storm retaining. How about that? Zoe, over to you, my dear.
Yeah, this one's kind of a hard one because I don't really care for either of them. I'm going to say that Marilyn Monroe wannabe bitch.
All right. Lance, over to you.
I'm just going to say, is it me or has Toni Storm's title reign almost downgraded the women's world title? Because it almost seems like a secondary woman's belt, and the TBS championship seems like the primary.
Well, I think the TBS champion has definitely gotten more attention, no question about that. Downgrade, I'm not sure. I think it's just because of who has a title in this case is Toni Storm. So, all right, I can see your point from there.
Unfortunately, I got to go with the bitch that has the bad Marilyn Monroe comedy gimmick.
All right. Joe, final say.
Oh, God. You got like 20-pound paperweight in Riho. Then you got the boring bitch who thinks she's a B-star. God, I hate the way she talks. I hate the way she looks. I hate the gimmick. There is not, whoever came up with that gimmick should be pulled out in the middle of the street in New York City at night and beaten to death. Because that's a fucking horrible gimmick. Obviously they ran out of any ideas, any and every idea just to put on this bitch. If you here's something for you fans out there. This is kind of old, yes. Go look up the Carol Burnett show and look up Nora Desmond. That's the sketch. And you'll see Toni Storm gets her gimmick because she has even a bodyguard or an assistant named Max, who's played by Harvey Korman. It's like she's this warped out actress. I would have understand, Rick, if they would have had, like, somebody would have hit her with a chair in the back of the head and she woke up and she was in the middle of a movie studio and, who am I? I am an actress. And the gimmick probably would have gone over slightly, maybe, who knows, better. Well, I doubt it.
I think what happened, honestly, in this case, is it was supposed to be Toni Storm's having some kind of a mental breakdown. That's what it was at first, though, the way it seemed at first. But I absolutely, understand where you're coming from.
It doesn't make any sense. It's just fucking worthless and timeless. Give me a fucking break. Unfortunately, and I say that, Riho with her chopstick legs are not going to overcome the timeless one herself. I see somebody just interfering on her behalf, and that's it. Don't forget also, she's at odds with her former outsider, whatever, sisters. So that could be a big issue with it in there because they haven't resolved that issue as well, Rick.
Yeah, that's true.
And she's also got that little blonde, that #1 fan of hers, trailing her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she has some company. Over in the chat room, James Kennedy said, I feel Swerve Strickland will lose and start working on MJF. Well, right now, MJF has kind of got his handful with several other people. So, but we'll get to MJF shortly. And then Slayer said, I used to like Toni Storm until I found out she was married to Lucy Juicy. All right. Now, Chris Jericho and, the Golden Jets, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega were supposed to take on Ricky Starks and Big Bill for the AEW Championship. But as we all talked about it before, Kenny Omega is out indefinitely. So Chris Jericho, I guess he's going to have to need a mystery partner, or I don't know. Hopefully, sometime tonight, if not the later this week, they're going to show that he's got bring on a partner. So, guys, with Chris Jericho not having a partner right now, I'm going to say right now that Billy Starks and Big Bill definitely are going to retain this championship. What about you, Lance?
Absolutely. Unless Tony Khan pulls something right at the crack of his ass, like a number one contenders match on tonight or on Rampage, and there's another team added or something.
Maybe. Like I said, we don't know what's going on until later on tonight. Zoe, over to you.
The back of my mind, I'm sitting here going, let Sammy turn on Don Callis and let's have the sex gods back.
You know what? That would be cool too.
Yeah.
Could be, but I know that realistically, that's not going to happen tonight. So I don't know. There.
This is what Tony Khan will probably do. I don't want him to, but could we see Jericho make a return?
That's another possibility. But again, I don't think. I think Starks and Big Bill are going to walk away with the titles.
Oh, hell yeah.
Joe, your shot.
You know what? I was going to say the same thing, Lance. How to defeat Big Bill? You get someone a lot bigger. And who better than a returning Big Show? Even if it's a one-nighter, just to see Jericho.
Yeah, and yes, has to come out as Captain Insano. Because Tony Khan has the rights to that character right now.
Exactly. Just something just to combat the Big Bill, and that's it. Because I doubt Lance Storm is going to come back, and him and Jericho are going to team to be the Thrill Seekers again.
If I can be serious for a minute.
Yeah. But I would love to see Jericho. I think Big Show getting an opportunity, especially on a pay-per-view, coming out with Jericho, even if it's one time. I could see the champions getting that, I could see Jericho and Big Show or Paul White get that count-out win because the champions will run and leave the ring. It would make a lot of sense in this case just to do this one-time thing.
Mm-hmm.
Another person that was sitting in the back of my head that possibly would be a good for the person for this. And how about Action Andretti? Honestly.
Yeah.
That's the only person I was thinking of. I was thinking, maybe, Zoe, you mentioned Sammy Guevara, and I'm like, yeah, that would be a pick, but realistically, it wouldn't be. But I'd say, like, Action Andretti would make sense. But
just put James Canati in there, and they'll have a tag team like that, and they'll win and be done.
Yeah. All right. Now, we already saw that last week on Dynamite how Cage defeated Copeland with the help of Nick Wayne's mother. And apparently she's turned heel now. She's a full-blown heel. So...
Never say full-blown in front of a MILF.
Yeah, that's damn true.
All right. Well, apparently now they want to have a second match between Copeland and Cage for the TNT Championship for no GQ. Now, I sort of saw that and I scratched my head. I'm like, okay, how does that make it any more better than a regular match with a disqualification? Because you got rid of the ref one way or another. Now they can do whatever they want. It could be 3-on-1, and Adam Copeland doesn't really have a lot of friends in AEW just as yet. Zoe, your thoughts?
He's gonna bring Beth Phoenix in, and they're gonna whip some ass. Is what they're gonna do. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, you got a point. Either way, they're gonna use every dirty angle in the book to get this win. Now you're just making it legal.
Yeah, pretty much. Joe, over to you.
What if Adam Copeland, the freaking Shaggy here, Brokeback Shaggy, What if he decided to dip into his old hat and come up with an alternative? Because you got Luchasaurus and you got Nick Wayne. Why not go and do this and say, guess what? I'm bringing the Hardys to my corner. Obviously, the Hardys have a history with both Copeland and Christian. So why not? That'll even the numbers, and maybe they could do something later. But who cares for the match? I'd rather see the MILF pop up in something skin tight, or maybe nothing at all.
No, Winter, so she's still gonna be wearing her jacket. So you're not gonna be able to see any, you're not gonna see her record cleavage, unfortunately. Yeah, the goodies are gonna be hidden. Lance, over to you.
Well, Copeland and Christian both have an old buddy that has popped up in AEW before.
Okay.
A certain vampire.
Oh.
Could we see Edge make a little call to Gangrel for some backup?
Dude, I would mark the fuck out.
That would be very interesting if if Tony could pull that out of his hat.
I don't know why he wouldn't, because Gangrel's done a few spots here and there in AEW.
True. So I don't know. I guess that's gonna be. I would like to. That would be a very cool idea. So. Now moving along, we have Julia Hart, who will take on Abaddon for the TBS Women's Championship. Now, Julia Hart's been on a roll, and I know that we're all fans of Abaddon, who really is just starting to get TV time. Joe, do you think Abaddon's just going to take the title away from Julia, or you think this is just a one-hit wonder?
I think this is just going to be a one-hit wonder. Abaddon is a great worker. I love the gimmick. She looks very, very attractive without all that paint on. And if you're a fan of her on Facebook, she always posts up how she works out. She does a lot of, workouts and stuff like that. I think she's more improved now than she's ever been. Plus, she does many, many indie shows. One of the things I gotta say, it's just interesting because Julia Hart is part of the House of Black, which is supposed to be like dark and creepy and all that. Well, it's like Morticia Addams versus Lily Munster. You're gonna have two of the same type of evil characters. One's a witch, one's a demon. Go figure. I still got to say it's going to stay on Julia Hart, but you know what? It's going to be one hell of a battle.
Excuse me. Yeah, absolutely. Zoe, over to you.
This is a match that I'm going to pay close attention to. I cannot wait for it. Both of these women for a long time, especially Abaddon in my mind, have deserved this push. Julia Hart, if we look back from where she came from in the beginning, she came straight from cheerleading into wrestling, and she has just evolved both in her character as well as her in-ring skills. She's got that dark, creepy, witchy vibe, like Joe just said. Abaddon's got this little demon vibe going on. Abaddon is a badass, I'm telling you. I cannot wait to this match. I'm going to pay extra close attention to both of these women because they are going to put on a show. Get the popcorn ready.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Over in the chat room, Jake Slayer says Julia Hart is going to retain. She's on a serious streak right now, or serious roll. And again, he's not wrong, but sometimes streaks can be beaten. Lance, over to you. Final thoughts.
I think Abaddon's push is just a little too new for her to pick up this one win right now. Now, if somehow they're able to keep her push going till, say, Revolution in March, we might see her pick it up then. And as much as I love both of these women, I see Julia Hart keeping it. And this is actually going to be a match to watch, unlike the actual women's title match, which is going to be a piss break.
There's one more thing to note from here, Rick.
Okay.
Not only do you have these two battling out, but in Julia Hart's corner is the best rear end in AEW currently, and that's Sky Blue. So
Yep.
you don't know, how this is going to turn out. So if they want to keep pushing Abaddon, you don't want him to lose, then Sky Blue interfering could give Abaddon that DQ win and keep Julia strong.
Or even just run in just a distraction, just enough for Julia to get the heel pin. But either way, you know what? You're absolutely right. Now we're going to move on to the FTW Championship, where Hook will defend his title against Wheeler Yuta in FTW Rules. Joe, explain to me, what exactly is FTW Rules? Because I never really knew.
FTW Rules is basically an extreme hardcore match. Taz actually came up with that rules back in ECW, in the original ECW, when he created the FTW title since they didn't want to give him the real belt that was occupied by, I think it was at the time, Rob Van Dam, and I forgot, and somebody else, Sandman and Scorpio, Too Cold Scorpio, or Shane Douglas. So when he came up with his FTW title, he came up with the FTW Rules, which him and Sabu battled, which is anything. You got candlesticks, trash cans, everything hardcore. So I think that's what they're looking to do, which I think is a good idea. I think it's at least it'll give that belt something different compared to the other ones. You could say it's kind of their version of a hardcore title, and I you know what, I would like to do that with Julia, but I also prefer doing that with the Neidhart sisters and Sky Blue on her rear end. So.
Yeah, Jenny Neidhart. Oh, she is sexy. She's not a wrestler, unfortunately, but every now and then I have to put her in for the babe of the day because, wow.
Just being with her sister is enough.
Now.
And then you know what? You laugh because we laugh at that's like, wow, they're great looking sisters, and they came out of Jim Neidhart.
That's true.
Well, there's an old saying: it takes ugly people to make beautiful people. So it happens. Now, when it comes to retaining the title, I think Hook's going to retain the title. I think Yuta, I don't see him getting this title. And Hook has been on a huge streak anyways. And, well, I've just never liked Yuta to begin with. Lance, your pick.
One, the FTW Rules favors Hook because, let's face it, Yuta is hell, even in his own faction. Mox is the hardcore guy, not Yuta. He's the high-flying, kind of technical guy. So it favors Hook.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm getting it to the. I'm giving it to just Paul Hook.
All right, Zoe, over to you.
Sorry, I was drooling a little bit. We were talking about Hook.
Yes, Hook versus Wheeler Yuta for the FTW title.
I know it's
Little Mac from Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Lance just said a very good point. In his little faction, Yuta is not the hardcore kind. He's more the high flyer kind. But then again, anything can happen. What if that factor right there helps him with that win? I don't see it happening. I see Hook retaining, but that can be a really good match.
Fair point. All right, and then we have for the main event, it's MJF versus Samoa Joe for the AEW World Championship. Now, Samoa Joe, I wouldn't say he's been his friend of MJF. He's more of a bodyguard because, as he said, he wanted him whole for World's End. Now, MJF, honestly, I think when it comes right down to it, Samoa Joe will give MJF a hard fight. No question about it. This is going to be an awesome match. But I think at the end of the day, MJF is going to wind up holding up the title. I don't think MJF's not ready to drop it, at least not to Samoa Joe, as much as I respect him. Lance, your thoughts?
Yes, but will the devil get involved?
And that's another good question. That's another topic. This, I guess we could call this duplicate devil with all his little minions, whatever the fuck you want to call them. They're constantly been an issue week in and week out. Some people are saying that this new devil is Adam Cole, but I'm not sure exactly who it is. Joe, what's your take on this whole situation?
Well, you know what? They playing it really well because you have Wardlow who's back, who's pushing that he hates MJF and he wants to get back. So he could be a possible devil.
I don't think so. Possible.
No, I'm just saying that's kind of what they throw out there. So you want to look in, they want you to look in this direction. Then you got Adam Cole in the other direction. But it's just, I don't know, when you look at the whole scope of it, I think they're trying to do the scenario that, if you guys remember back in not in mid-90s or early 90s, in WCW, the whole Black Scorpion thing with Ric Flair under the mask, I think they're doing the same thing, that they're just, let's play around with this, see who we can really pop in there, who makes sense. So you never know who it could honestly be. So they want you to think Adam Cole. They want you to think Wardlow. Who knows who it really is? I think it could be a person returning. But I think in this match, Joe is great at what he does. He is the successor to Taz. You want to talk about Little Mac from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out? He's a joke with that hairstyle. You look at Joe, who's bona fide, he could be the next Taz. And he was back in TNA era. So is he good enough to take down MJF? Oh, no. MJF's going to hold that belt for a lot longer because, one, his success with the Iron Claw movie, he just got an award for being a very successful Jewish athlete. So his momentum is picking up around. People are recognizing him more than any other AEW champion out there. Call it timing, call it whatever. But MJF is going to keep that belt. And you're going to start seeing more and more teasing of this devil. It probably something will probably happen after this show, but it's not going to be significant yet.
All right, I want to go over to the chat room real quick. James Kennedy says, I want MJF to win, but I feel Joe is going to go over. Again, I'm not sure about that, but thank you. And then Jake Slater says, Joe is still great in the ring. He's lost a few steps and has gained a few more pounds, though. That's what happens when you get old. But I believe Joe dropped, he relinquished to the ROH TV title so he can get a shot at the AEW championship.
Yes.
So.
And his next one was, could it be Evil Uno? Uno is he's another one. He's a joke. He doesn't have that ability to really capture an audience or to look with the Dark Order. He could have had so many possibilities, and they gave him that one-time shot to lead a group, and it fizzled. That's why they had to bring in Brody Lee and all these other people.
And also, every time they keep showing the devil, and I'm not taking a shot, but
he's skinny.
Yeah, and Evil Uno's too damn big to be that devil. But also, another theory that it has been is it's Jungle Boy, which there ain't no way in hell, unless he's been doing some steroids like Hulk Hogan style, he's put on enough weight and muscle mass to be the devil that got out of that car.
Well, he's been out for 4 months.
Yeah, but...
And even still, even right now, for all we know, at this point, they probably don't even know who it's going to be. They could be just, okay, right now, garbage guy, come here, put this thing on,
Yeah, it is the old Black Scorpions gimmick where they put the mask out there to see if it draws interest and they really haven't figured out who yet. And then the thing is, like at any murder mystery, you don't want to give it away too soon because you want to make sure you can kind of make sure that right person, if whoever it is revealed, can actually go in that ring. You know, is Adam Cole ready to return full time? You know, he's a big no. If Jungle Boy's returning, Rick, we've said this many times, Jungle Boy's a good worker, or not, we shouldn't even call him Jungle Boy anymore, Jack Perry. What he needed was to gain more weight so he looks bigger. Maybe that could be an option for him to be a bigger player. You know,
well, I think if he returns one way or another, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think if Jack Perry, or I say when Jack Perry returns, I think he's got to return as a babyface. I think for him to return back as a heel, he'll get a huge pop, and he's just going to turn that down. To walk away from that kind of a heat, I think would be a mistake.
You know, could we see this being just a big-ass swerve on MJF's part?
This could be. This could be MJF all along. You know, he actually was the original Devil. So,
y'all's crazy. I know who it is.
Who is it?
I know exactly who it is.
It's CM Punk.
It's Shane McMahon.
Well,
he's out of work right now.
The bill fits. The bill does fit.
Now, that would be incredible if he made that jump. But I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it too.
He did leave the WWE after that Rumble.
Yeah, he left the WWE after Rumble. If I'm not mistaken, it was a match during The Miz where he threw his knee out.
Yeah.
So, and
Shane is in poor physical shape right now.
Yeah, and I honestly do not see him wanting to go to another wrestling company. I just don't see it happening, unfortunately.
I got a question for you three in here and for the folks listening. Could it be even possibly be teased as Adam Page?
That's another possibility.
I really did. That crossed my mind. I was like, what if it is Hangman?
Yeah. So, and, even James Kennedy said,
Wait. They just beat the shit out of him.
Actually, yeah, they did.
The devil and his demons just beat the shit out of him.
So, yeah. So, I kind of want to...
How many times have we seen, let's take it back to the old WWF whenever you had the Ministry of Darkness. How many times have we seen the leader say, okay, I'm going to have you beat the shit out of me on camera. Don't actually hurt me. And then it turns out to be that dude.
Yeah.
True.
It was me.
Jake Slater said maybe Dolph Ziggler. Yeah. Which I don't think...
You mean Kimono Wanalea?
No.
In your dreams, buddy.
But over...
James said Matt Riddle.
No.
I don't think... Nah.
And honestly, I don't think AEW would want somebody that, especially AL, that off the hook, especially after the dealings with CM Punk. They're not going to want to deal with another guy who's like off the chain and just do whatever he wants whenever he wants. So.
Well, at least we can honestly put there is a list, ladies and gentlemen, of people who we know that is definitely not the devil. Ryback is one.
It is Strickland.
I just had an idea of who it could be if they do a quick turnaround.
Who?
Ziggler.
Yeah, actually, Jake Slater said that in the chat room. It could be Ziggler, but I mean, it wouldn't make sense, for him to come in as a debut. I don't know. It's just one of those things we're gonna have to wait and see because I've ran through my mind so many scenarios, and like we're doing tonight right now, it's like we say it and it's like no, not really. It doesn't fit.
Well, and it has to be somebody who has a history with MJF, because that's the whole story. And if you again hate to keep harping back on the Black Scorpion thing, but the whole Black Scorpion gimmick was a prey on Sting. So that person had history with Sting. Obviously, it turned out to be Flair, but they had so many people underneath that black scorpion mask. So when it was finally revealed it was Flair, it was lackluster because of the way they did it. But there is a who's who don't like MJF. So again, you do have Jack Perry, you do have Wardlow, you do have Adam Copeland, Adam Cole, who has a history with him. So there is that little group there that can come out and be against him. So you also got to look at the people he used to hang with in his little group. So that could be another thing. Oh, it could be Chris Jericho for all we know, because Chris Jericho I wouldn't be surprised and put that over on him. But it's so much right now. It's so hard to really pinpoint, because I don't think, again, they have an idea who it is.
I got two predictions. It's either one of two things. It's just a big ass swerve on MJF's part. That's 50%. Or Adam Cole, because if you remember, Adam Cole is or was part of the Kingdom with three people.
Yeah, and that would, like I said, again, that is another strong possibility. But I mean, how long is Copeland out for? He's still out for not Copeland, I'm sorry, Cole. How long is he out for? At least, another 3 or 4 months? At least?
It's a lie.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so I know a few people that had the same injury he did. After surgery, if they put him in a boot, he could be up and around. I mean, he wouldn't be taking a bump or anything for a while, and they could still do the cat and mouse thing with him and MJF. Just they'd have to have the other three members of the Kingdom run and block her for him, or blocking for him.
No, all right. And that we have for our picks and predictions for this for World's End, but we still have some news we want to cover. 1 second. Yeah.
Hey.
News watch.
So, for those of you who may not know, it looks like Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount could be looking at some kind of a possible merger. From what I read in the article, the merger is still very much up in the air. It's not clear who holds seniority, although from what I read, it looked like Paramount actually reached out to Warner Brothers Discovery. So right now, and again, we still have in 2024, TV deals are up in the air. We know that AEW is still working on a contract, and WWE's Raw, should they make that jump to over to Warner Brothers Discovery. So we're gonna have to figure out, guys, how is this all gonna play out? Joe, I'm gonna start off with you.
It's really difficult to say, because depends on the contract. Because they're the ones that have AEW on their programming, correct?
Yeah.
So they're going to look at which show could draw them the most revenue and the most eyes. Ratings mean a lot. So if you go look at, how bland the WWE is with their constant repeats, but they still have more attractability than AEW at this point. If it comes down to that, yes, Paramount, Warner Brothers, they do this merger. They're gonna look at what could draw them. And right now, both Warner Brothers and Paramount are really lacking in programming. Their shows haven't been great. If you ever watch Paramount or Warner Brothers Discovery, their shows haven't been that great. There's maybe one or two that are pretty decent, but overall, they need something that's going to draw eyes to them. The bigger the ratings, the more advertisers are willing to advertise on your network. So that's what they're going to look for. So I think if this deal is done, they're going to look at WWE, and they're going to go with that option. You know, unless Tony Khan has major stakes in this groups, then I don't see it happening. I could see WWE coming in and swooping in.
So you would think that would be pretty much the end of AEW for the most part.
I think this will be the end of AEW on a major network,
which is never good.
Right, and again, you know, you look at how WWE, but then again, what happens to their other networks that WWE is already on? So could Tony Khan turn around and say, hey, well, then we're going to jump on this channel and we're going to jump on that channel? I don't think AEW, as much as we love how it has more action, better concepts, better ideas in certain aspects, WWE, no matter what, has the worldwide talent. That's how they beat the other promotions in the past. You know, for every Ric Flair, there was Hulk Hogan. For every Hollywood Hulk Hogan, you had Stone Cold, The Rock, and all that. So, hell, even Cena. So, I think right now, Tony Khan better stop worrying about making special announcements, and he better find a way to keep his product on those networks or hunt for a very bigger network that he can be on. Because if these two guys merge and they're looking at numbers, it's always going to be WWE.
All right. Well, again, we're still talking about the possibility of merging, but we still know that WWE wants to go with Warner Brothers Discovery. So even if for some reason, you know, they sign WWE Raw for Monday nights, AEW will still be on Wednesday nights, but I can't recall the last time where I've seen two different wrestling shows on the same network. It hasn't happened. It's been at least over 20 years, if not longer.
Yeah.
You did have, correct me if I'm wrong, you did have TNA on one night on one network, and then you had on that same network Ring of Honor, and it didn't do well for either product. Well, so that's the only time two wrestling companies have been on the same network, and it's never works out.
All right. Lance, let me ask you. Should this merger go through, what do you see happening within AEW and Monday Night Raw?
Well, it kind of depends on where. I've heard something about Raw going to FX, but again, that could be rumors. But correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't Warner Brothers own a stake in AEW?
Yes, I believe they do.
So I don't see them moving AEW, but I have no fucking idea where the Raw will go.
Yeah, you know, again, it's one of those kind of scary moments. But honestly, Warner Brothers Discovery, despite whatever, you know, like some people have said about some of their content on TV, they've had nothing but good things to say about them. They've done nothing but, you know, they've made the money. And, you know, the ratings for a second show, for a second tier show is pretty damn good.
And
I mean, I don't.
Remember one thing. Raw ain't doing Attitude Era numbers.
Well, nobody is. I mean,
exactly.
You know, unfortunately, you know, Attitude numbers, again, you have to have that type of, you know, the Attitude. And they also was dealing with WCW. So they were doing whatever they could, saying whatever they could. At the same time, you had a rival company at a rival time slot, and that's what had those numbers up so much.
Yeah.
Now they're down to 2 million, 3 million, but still, AEW Dynamite at the highest, I think, did 1.3 million.
Yeah.
On a low, that's probably what the Monday Night Raw does on a low. On an average, they do about 2.5, give or take. So, Zoe, over to you.
I have no idea.
At least that's an honest answer.
At least one of us is honest.
One way or another, I just hope that AEW stays on Warner Brothers Discovery.
Hell yeah.
Where WWE goes or Monday Night Raw goes, I don't care. You know, knowing USA Network, they'll probably pay them higher. So, just to keep them on. Oh, and Tony Khan made a special announcement, as we were talking about.
Of course.
He introduced the Women's Ring of Honor TV Championship, and Khan stated that there will be more details as weeks to come. Great. So you make an announcement and leaves it hanging. You know, Zoe, that's kind of like getting a little like blowjob on the tip of the tail, like right on the tip, for a little about 2 seconds, saying, "Okay, more to come." It's like, yeah, I want more to come, but you got to finish the fucking job.
Pass me.
Okay,
That's like starting off a good hand job and just get your hand tired, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it's good that the women's division is gonna have the Ring of Honor Championship and all that good stuff. Yeah, but I mean, how do you do that? That's like telling somebody, "Oh my God, I just found out the biggest piece of gossip, but I can't tell you about it." It's like, how are you gonna say, "I just found this out," and you ain't gonna tell me about it? You don't leave it like that. You tell me. I want to fucking know.
You're expecting too much.
Yeah.
I know. Fucking Tony Khan.
You know, I hope he's not following in the tradition of the Jim Crockett's National Wrestling Alliance, because how many titles does this make so far? Well, back in the NWA, we had the world title, the U.S. title, the national title, the TV title, the Mid-Atlantic title, the Western States Heritage title.
Joe, in that case, that was with all of the fucking territories, too. So that would be for certain companies.
But, well, we're talking about Ring of Honor, which is not necessarily tied in with AEW. They're kind of like NXT of the WWE, so to speak, if I may.
You got a question, if I may?
Yep.
How deep is ROH's women's roster?
I don't know. I don't watch Ring of Honor, unfortunately.
Warrant a damn secondary belt? Because I thought it was like 5-6 chicks. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but if 5 or 6 women over 2 belts, that's too many damn belts.
Yeah, I have to agree. Real quick, I want to welcome Terry 3G into the chat room, and he said, late due to PC crap. Sorry about that. I know it sucks. So he says he's got to watch from the beginning till later. All right. So we're back on this title, and now Ring of Honor, they have 5 or 6 titles. They have the men's TV title. Now they have the women's TV title. They have the men's world championship. Now they have the women's world championship. I'm guessing they have a Ring of Honor tag team. Do they have a trios?
I think so.
Okay, well, I'll just say. And I think they also have the True Champion, which I actually like. I actually like the True Champion. I think out of all the titles.
But they also have the Pure Champion.
The Pure Champion, that's what it is. Sorry, that's what it is. But
I just hope, I hope that them doing this means that they're going to bring more talent into the women's division, because like you guys said, 5 or 6 girls, 2 belts. I mean, that's going to be a hard way to go. But for me as a woman in the wrestling business, I want to see more women who are serious about this sport. I want to see more women serious about this business who have clawed their way, had injuries, went through drama and everything to get up to the point that they could be on Ring of Honor or AEW. I want to see that, because me in the indies, whenever a little girl comes up to me and she's like, "Oh my God, you're awesome," that makes me feel great. That makes me feel like, okay, I'm doing this for the right reasons. I want to be someone that a kid can look up to. I really hope this means that they're going to bring more talented women into the picture.
Yeah. Well, Terry 3G.
I'm sorry, not to cut you off, Rick, but the official count, you got the Ring of Honor World Championship held by Eddie Kingston, the Women's World Championship held by Athena, the ROH Pure Champion, which is Wheeler Yuta. You got the Ring of Honor World Television Championship, which is held by Kyle Fletcher. Of course, the World Tag Team Champions are MJF and Adam Cole, and the six-man Ring of Honor champions are the Mogul Embassy.
Okay, so there's a trio. I wasn't sure there's a trio titles. But Terry 3G did make a point that ROH and AEW women roll around in the division, which means they kind of share. They kind of go back and forth a little bit more than WWE's main roster and the NXT. When they're down in NXT, you very rarely get called up. But I think with Ring of Honor, they kind of do share the spotlight a little bit. So, so when this new title comes, I'm not even sure. But we even have that other title we've been talking about, which is the Continental Classic for the Trios Champion. And there's a belt that's clearly been hidden, so there's another belt coming. So, you did make a fair point that there are going to be too many belts in one company. So, but let's move along. So, we heard about, I'm not sure if that Dana Massey, who's Nick Jackson's wife, is leaving the company. According to Meltzer, Dana left because it's how she dealt with the aftermath of the Punk and EVP fallout back in 22. There was also speculations that Punk went on Instagram calling out an error to her merchandise on July's Death Before Dishonor show, which is another issue that I guess Massey has. There's a lot of circling stories as to why she's leaving. Joe, I don't know if those are just kind of bullshit stories or if they're legit. I don't, but I've been looking around and I've read so many different things. It's hard to keep track of all these different mixed stories.
Well, it is so hard to understand it because I think Punk was upset with her because of merchandise snafu that happened at a show. She's married to one of the EVPs, so obviously she can just say, screw you, you don't control me, da 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 da, and it's a lot that could have been done, but also she could be just want to push away from this whole scenario because who knows where it's leading Nick Jackson and his brother, because let's face it, Young Bucks are also getting to that point where they're going to stop working and they might want to move on to something else. Actually, they resigned. Yeah, but they could be re-signed, probably like more backstage stuff, because I don't want to see them being champions over and over and over. So I think in her case, the whole merchandise scenario and sales, because the CM Punk probably left her such a bad taste in her mouth. She just said, "No, I'm done. Fuck them," and that's it.
All right, Zoe, your thoughts on Nick Jackson's wife leaving due to all this weird controversy?
I heard that it was over the merchandise sale, and then I heard today that it had been something between how the altercation with CM Punk and the Young Bucks, how it was handled whenever that happened. To me, I don't know for sure what her reasoning is, because to me, it's like, okay, well, that happened back in the day. The merchandise crap happened back in the day. Why are you just now up and wanting to quit? Why didn't you say, you know what, fuck you, I'm gone whenever it happened?
And you know what? That's a very a good point. The only reason I can say why she didn't quit or walk away is now her contract's up. That's the only explanation in my head. I don't know about you, Lance.
Well, she might just be done. Might be done with the wear and tear of being in that damn position of merch, but because the whole thing of I'm leaving because of the CM Punk thing, that's a stupid ass reason. Because, well, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. Punk is no longer with the company.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? The guy's gone. I can understand if he was still around, then she'd be like, I can't take this guy anymore. Yeah, sure. It would be understandable, but he's been gone for 4 months now.
And he's signed with.
I mean, I don't know. But like I said, a lot of the stories didn't make sense to me. So, moving on. I've been reading the rumors that WWE is considering splitting up the WWE Tag Team Championships again. Right now they are united, or they're undisputed. So, I think the idea is, again, they want one on SmackDown and one on Raw because it's not working anymore. But then, I don't know, Lance, you watch WWE more than I do. Do they even have a tag team roster? That's answer enough. No, but
I mean,
honestly, I think they just need to get rid of this bullshit. 2 different tag belts, have one tag team championship, and jump between like honestly, like the women's belts do.
all right. Joe, your thoughts?
First, Lance Answer said it all. Like, what tag teams do they have?
Yeah, I don't even. I think I saw. The Usos are split.
Yeah, and I don't want to see the DUI brothers retain another belt.
Oh, they broke
get
up.
back together.
Oh,
and
they broke up again already?
Well, imagine. Well, look, let's get together. Let's do this. I don't want to see the same boring storyline. They don't really have a team, any team there that makes sense, that's worth your interest. I bet you if I look up WWE and look for tag teams, they don't have it. In a land that used to be littered with many great tag teams, WWE, if you ask me, who's the greatest tag team? Well, Finn Balor and Damian Priest? Is that the only ones? You look and there's really nobody that you could sit back and say, who could be the best thing? You got NXT champions who are not ready for the major leagues. It's just, I don't know. I sit back and there isn't really anybody there that can retain. Look, I'm looking at WWE's page and they have the Raw, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Well, they have no other tag teams listed.
Yeah. And they're pretty much in a faction.
Yeah, Judgment Day.
Yeah, so
Rick, that Xavier Woods is out with a severe injury.
And so was in Big E, so New Day's pretty much disassembled.
Done. New Day is old day now. Honestly, there isn't any teams there. So for them to split something up, they have to have a team. They have to have teams to do such a thing, and I think it's a very stupid idea at this point.
I agree. Zoe, your thoughts?
I agree wholeheartedly with Joe. Leave it the way it is until you can come up with a good tag team division. Because all you have Judgment Day, you have the Viking Raiders, you have Alpha Academy, and that's honestly all that I can think of. You don't have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn right now.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have the Viking Raiders because Sarah Logan's husband is out with an injury.
Yeah. Now, Terry 3G's over in the chat room, he said he would say that there are more of a tag team roster women-wise than they are men-wise. And right now, wouldn't be shocked if that's the case. He also followed up with Sasha will come back to form a new tag team.
Good God, no.
Well, that is a major rumor.
We did talk about this last week, guys, about the possibility.
I know. I refuse to believe that possibility. I'm in denial.
Well, here's the thing. I was in denial that CM Punk would go back to WWE, but guess what? Vince isn't there anymore. He doesn't have control anymore. And I would not be surprised, maybe if I'm not necessarily, next week or whatever, that Triple H talks to Mercedes Moné and says, "Come on back. We'll make some changes."
Because if her uncle Snoop Dogg has any pull in the company or with any of the network people, I wouldn't be surprised they'd say, "Hey, bring this bitch back in."
Well, and Terry 3G said, what about having Sasha and Jade Cargill as a new Superpowers tag team?
Oh, God.
Let me live in denial while I can.
Now, don't get me wrong. I love Jade Cargill, but yeah, I think, honestly, hypothetically, if Sasha came back, that would definitely bring Jade down. I think Jade needs to come out as a singles rather than a tag team. Has she actually wrestled a singles match? I know that she's made some appearances, but...
No.
So she's not done anything.
That dumb bitch ain't done shit.
Jesus Christ.
Now, here's the thing. Aesthetically, it works. Like, the gear kind of go together, and they both have that crazy-ass hair.
Shut up.
All right, we don't want to piss her off, so we're going to move along. Tuesday morning, TNA announced that the grizzled young veterans from NXT, James Drake and Zach Gibson, will debut at Hard to Kill. So it seems again that there are people that are leaving WWE for the simple fact that there's so much fucking room in that company. Even in NXT, you can't breathe. So if you want to try to work your way up, you're going to either get some kind of push and you're pushed way to the top and you stay up there, or you're going to fight for years. Joe, your thoughts?
Yeah, I honestly at this point I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to pass on this one because I pretty much. One, I didn't hear the question. I think that's a more funny way of saying it.
Thank you for listening.
Could you repeat the question? Because I was answering somebody else who was
sending
me a message.
Well, we were talking about how the grizzled young veterans who was in NXT left for TNA. And the question is that sometimes it goes so tight and so tough for WWE and NXT wrestlers to move up or to even become significant because, the chain is so high up and there's so many people fighting that chain to get up that it's almost impossible.
Oh, God, the way you just put that, it's like, and then they left to go to TNA. Gee, they just downgraded. Here's the thing. Everybody wants to move up in professional wrestling, whether it be a manager, be a wrestler, whether it be a tag team, anybody. But if you make a decision and you go to a lesser company, how is it helping your career? Especially someone like TNA or NWA Power, where neither have a very strong television market. Yes, NXT, you're in a huge pond with so many other fish in there. Honestly, I'd rather be in that pool and have to fight with everybody else. At least you're in a company that's world renowned. You're going to be noticed. You're going to be looked at. For you to say, yeah, I'm not being noticed. Why? And I want to go to over here where I'll be a superstar because I'm a former WWE person. That's all great, but you got to look at this. Is it going to be worth it? Is it going to be, are you going to get that notoriety? Are you going to get the paychecks for one that a WWE can offer, even on an NXT level. Honestly, it's a very big downgrade to go off to a lesser company. Just suck it up, Buttercup. Stay where you're at. Improve your character. Maybe do that, and try to get better in your promos. Get better in the gym. Work out your moves more. Develop your character. That's one thing I got to say. It's such a pity we don't have the territory system, because anybody in the territories could learn as they went to different areas, and then they'll be ready to go into WWE. Right now, there is no such thing as a territory. You got minor companies, and you got one major company, and you got a second place company. So, Rick, if I was those people that complain about, oh, I'm in NXT for years, no, let's shut up, stay there, improve your game, improve your character, improve your promos, and maybe you'll get looked at.
All right. Zoe, what's your thoughts about all that?
Well, I mean, you're in NXT for a reason. It's to get you ready for the big leagues. It's not, okay, well, I'm going to do this, and this, and I'll get noticed. No, you got to put in the effort. You got to put in the work. The only time that I can really recently recall that working out well with anybody to go from WWE to TNA was Drew McIntyre. And he was told to come back to WWE because they opened up their eyes and said, wow, we fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing. I mean, that could have been Cody Rhodes. Now, Cody Rhodes went to AEW, which everybody still thought was an indie company at its time. And I think he was there for, 2 years, and he came back, and now he's like, opening Raw. So, and it's just, I think sometimes WWE has their head so far up their ass, or at least creative has their head so far up their ass, they're not willing to say, all right, let's see what you got. Come to me with something. Let's see it. But I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. So, unfortunately, I feel that people are being completely, ignored year after year or whatever. Yeah, they have to go to another company, whether it be TNA or NWA Power or even AEW, to show this is who I am. And if they fall then, well, then that's on their ass. Lance, final thoughts.
Well, these guys were looking for a way out a little bit before the budget cuts started. And they had requested their release one other time back when Vince still owned the company, but TKO actually granted it to them, from the best I remember. And also, I believe they own a company in England where they're from. So, does anybody know how long the contract they signed with TNA is?
No idea.
No idea. Just
as long as the bologna sandwiches and the orange juice can last.
So this could just be a little 3-month contract, like they signed Cardona or Heath Slater to, or just one of those short-term deals, and not one lock them down contracts.
Yeah, but I don't see them running right back to the WWE just yet.
Oh, hell no.
You know what's funny about this? Let's say they do go to Impact, and they sign a contract. Okay, first of all, there's a 50-50, or should I say 60-40 chance they might not get paid. Okay, for all it's worth, TNA is not making any big headways, or not making, or even has any large audience, or even have a network that they can literally jump on to get noticed. So, yeah, you're collecting a better paycheck, maybe, but that contract is not going to last long. It's just going to be, it's a decision that, do you stay with a company that their paycheck is steady, that you're going to get watched, you're going to have eyes on you even if you're on the NXT brand, or do you take a chance and go someplace else where you might get a little bit more money, might get paid eventually sometimes, or might not, and be seen by zero audience? That's what happens if you leave the bigger companies to go to a smaller company. Yeah, hey, you become the bigger star. Because, yeah, I'm a former NXT guy. Yeah, I think you should give me all the kudos that go with that. But then again, now you're in that position that you're holding back somebody else who's worked their way into that company. And again, you're not going to get far. So again, I think people need to really analyze all the pros and cons before making a jump. Because it's never greener. Even if they promise something, I don't think you are going to get those promises, especially with companies like TNA and NWA Power.
That's true. Both TNA and NWA Power are kind of financially suffering. So, I mean, it's not as bad, or at least TNA is not nowhere near as bad as when Dixie Carter was running the company.
Yeah.
So
people were on food stamps back in.
Over in the chat room, Terry3G said, to me, NXT is WWE's attempt to keep good talent from other promotions that could help them excel to a better status. And to a point, Terry, I do agree with you.
Yeah.
But I agreed it when they were on the network, when it was a 1-hour show. When they went to USA, 2 hours, I'm like, nope, that's just another WWE show. It's just a different brand now. And unfortunately, that's all I see. I mean, I don't even see it as a development brand, although I know officially that's what it is. I can't because, now they're bringing down all the, WWE superstars that were bringing it down to help the ratings. And it's just, the more I saw that, the more disgusted I became with even that. And I loved NXT for a long time. And I've just lost all respect for WWE/NXT. But you hit the nail on the head, I guess. Let's talk about move along. Let's talk about NWA Power. They're going to be uniting the men's and women's TV championship next month. Yes, guys, you heard that right. The men and women's titles, TV titles, will be united. Zoe, now I know you have no problem wrestling intergender, but does that make any sense, or what's your thoughts?
It makes zero sense to me, honestly. I just I don't like that. Like, I'm fine with the intergender wrestling matches. That's perfectly fine. I just don't see combining a men's and women's championship.
Yeah. Lance, over to you.
Okay. It's a little off topic, but what the hell is the deal with these two companies that don't have TV deals having TV champions?
That's
Oh, God.
That's a very strong point.
Now, the whole intergender thing has on a person-by-person basis, but two fucking companies that don't have TV deals have TV champions. What the actual fuck?
Yeah, that's actually probably one of the strongest points you said. Joe, final thoughts.
Final thoughts? I'll tell you this. That shows that they have no talent, and they have to put these belts together just to bring their male and female divisions together. It's like, okay, well, guess what? Yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna grab this person. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that. Makes zero sense to me. Shows that they don't have anybody, and that they have to do this just to try to figure out what they're going to do with their depleting roster. Well, you don't have that many men, so let's put a woman in there. Sounds good. Well, we have too many belts, not that many people. Let's merge them. Good idea. Who's going to fight with them? Both genders? Yeah, that sounds good. Let's do that. I was never a fan of intergender matches. I think it's just stupid in my opinion. Men are men and women are women. That's why they showcase each other's talent in their own way. It's if a woman can pick up a 6-foot guy or do a hurricane on the guy, and I've seen 80-pound women being flying in the air and plancha a group of men who catch her like she's Andre the Giant and get splat. then you know those are the bottom of the barrel indie garbage.
Oh, you mean like Nyla Rose?
Yes. No, well, that's a different thing. Nyla Rose is a different world. It's a different division.
That was from Terry 3G over there, so I was just pitching that one in. Thank you, Terry.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, don't get me started on the thing from another reality. That's a woke garbage that was created. If it was my way, she'd be boiled in her own pudding, in her own ball juice. So anyway.
Hang on.
Oh, here we go.
Hang the hell on. That's Joe at Skollen's.com.
Had to get in there once.
I had to get there once. You want to keep going, Lance? And can you imagine it takes his fucking dick from between his legs and just use that as a broom to sweep the floor from all the garbage that it excretes.
Oh, God.
Joe, if you want to think about that part of Nyla Rose, buddy, that's
it. Put it like this. Every time we look at freaking Charlotte Flair, what do we say? We look for Captain Winky.
You know what? I'm going to tell you, I think Charlotte Flair's fucking sexy. All right?
She looks like Cher. She looks like fucking Cher nowadays.
Look like Cher? Man, I would fuck Cher in a heartbeat. You kidding me? Tell me, you know anybody who would say they would not want to fuck Cher.
I wouldn't fuck Cher.
Oh, shame on you.
Oh, fuck no.
Come on, you gotta tell me. Remember back in the '90s when she came back, that song.
You believe in love.
No, not that one. The one where she did she did the concert. She did the not the concert.
Oh yeah, she had the ass cheeks sticking out.
Yeah, the video that she had the black leather going on, man. I mean, she had to have Oh, I was looking at that. I'm like, my God, I could lick on that all day. But still, we're getting away from wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, you're trying to think about doing another kind of wrestling.
Yeah. Again, I think it's stupid from a bottom of the barrel company that has no idea what it's doing. Its roster fucking stinks. Its champions don't even get noticed. There is probably to people, they're probably known as a cosplay group because they play wrestlers. They have nobody serious in that company that you would consider any sort of he or she is there. Wow. No. When you look at TNA or Impact or whatever name they want to go back to now, and then you look at NWA Power, it's the same garbage. They have bottom of the barrel indie workers who know that they can't make it in any place big, so they go to these companies, and then they make these stupid belts that nobody knows, like exactly what Lance. Why do you have a television title if you don't have television? I can understand if you have the streamer belt, because then you could stream a fucking product on YouTube or something. That's probably the best thing that they could do right now, and pay people to watch their product. Billy Corgan, your fucking brand sucks. You suck. Go smash yourself with a pumpkin, and I hope that your company gets flushed down the toilet more faster than you're doing it now.
All right, we're gonna reach. Wow, we're gonna hit one more topic, and then we're gonna call it a night. We know that Goldberg has been looking for that retirement match. Apparently, he was upset with WWE because Vince promised him one, and apparently that deal fell through. Well, earlier today, Goldberg spoke with an interview, and he gave a little bit more intel on what was going on with that deal. If you remember back a couple of years ago, Vince, I went to go face Roman Reigns, and he would put him over and say, sure. But here's the thing. He had COVID. Vince McMahon knew this. And he said, look, Vince, I think we should, do this at another time. But Vince is like, I need you here. I need you here. He goes, fine. I do this. I'll put Roman Reigns over. But if, I do this, you give me a retirement match. So what's Vince do? He says, okay. He flies a guy who has COVID overseas to do the match. And, of course, Vince doesn't cover the match, his retirement match. Now, as much as I hate Bill Goldberg, I disrespect the guy, but I think he kind of got a raw deal, Lance.
Wait a minute. What year was this?
This was like a couple years ago, 2 maybe 3 years. When did
So
down in
Just
Saudi?
think of the last time Goldberg was in WWE.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. In the height of a raging pandemic, Mr. William Goldberg is claiming in the time when you couldn't wipe your ass in a damn airport without getting a COVID test, that he traveled with COVID.
That's his story. Yes.
Anybody else calling bullshit?
Me?
You know, I was trying to like something smelled a little weird, but you know, it's been When was the last faced Goldberg? When Goldberg last faced Roman Reigns? It was down in Saudi Arabia, so it was one of those matches. Joe, your thoughts?
Abdul, come and see Goldberg throw up all over the place. Blah. You know, first of all, I don't think that happened because any major airline, unless Vince is flying them on his own private jet,
Which probably did.
which he probably did, but you still got customs. I know Saudi Arabia, to them, okay, turn your head and cough. Oh, thank you, Camel. You know, that's probably what the best medical profession they have. So, you know, I honestly, if it happened, I'm not surprised that Vince asked him to do it. He's the bigger fool because there's a big chance that not only could you get on a flight, unless they isolated you and locked you in the bathroom for the entire flight, but imagine the statistics of you getting your fellow wrestlers sick. Then you got to take off that mask to wrestle someone, and there's a big chance that that person could get sick. So, you know, I don't know. To me, well, we all know Vince was scummy and did a lot, unless there is an actual match proof, video proof, or there is an actual listing that he went to Saudi Arabia. And unless the Saudis are that retarded to not have somebody come into their country and not be checked for any type of COVID, then who knows if it's true or not. But you know what? For Goldberg to actually believe Vince, he's the bigger fool here. You know, for that, he could just petition Tony Khan and say, hey, let me battle Sting in the battle of the WCW battles. One time, me and the Stinger, you know, Scorpion Deathlock versus Spear and Jackhammer.
Yeah. I believe the last time they fought, it was in 2022 in September. So, yeah, COVID was still pretty much kicking.
Yeah.
You know.
COVID was in its already in these height and slowing down, but it was there in the heights.
Yeah.
I mean, but people were getting COVID tests back then and shit, so could he possibly have said that, yeah, you know, they got COVID tests? I don't know. I mean, do I call bullshit? Maybe, because there's no way to prove it. So maybe this is just Goldberg going on air and just, you know, like pretty much gaslighting Vince.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts, Zoe?
Goldberg went on there and talked out of his ass is what he went and done. That dumb fuck. That's all that big bald motherfucker did. He went on there and he talked out of his ass, trying to make himself seem like, oh man, I wrestled even though I was sick. Good for you. John Cena wrestled and he had the shits and crapped on himself.
Preach!
I mean, I'm not going to give you an award for wrestling sick. I know plenty of people that have wrestled sick. Now, if you had COVID, there ain't no way you got on a plane, got off the plane, and they said, okay, come on, we don't got to check you for squat.
Yeah.
Well, crap.
It's like Bret Hart. When Bret Hart had 101 fever and lost his Intercontinental belt to the Mountie.
Yeah. And if he did test positive, yeah, I'll believe that. As much as I believe the match he had with Taker in Saudi Arabia was a 5-star classic.
That right there should have been his retirement match, the Undertaker match, because it was shit just like he is. Undertaker deserves so much better, even though it was in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
But, you know, And Rick, at least you don't have to worry about the Saudis getting any COVID. They're wrapped from head to toe in blankets, so they're good.
Oh, God.
Awesome. We're still live.
Let's hit the email again.
Yeah.
Hit the
No.
email.
Okay. Well, you know what? We are gonna wrap up this edition
Watch
of
my
Hardcore
camel
Wrestling.
spit. Come watch my camel spit. Come here. Thank you.
Oh, God. I know I shouldn't have brought that one up.
Motherfuckers. Huh?
I know I shouldn't have brought that topic up, but you know. All right. We are going to wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I want to thank everybody who came on. I want to thank Jake Slayer. I want to thank Terry. I also, somebody who got, James Kennedy who came on. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys all for coming on. Get a chance, hit and like, subscribe to Hardcore Wrestling Rants. Joe, you're over at Southern Realms. What do you got going on over there?
Well, we switched from Scourge's Realm. We're now WWO Live Online. We're now a virtual wrestling promotion where everybody does promo skits and everything, just like a real wrestling promotion. But our action is in a WWE 2K23 format. So if you're interested, you can see everything we do, just like the real wrestling companies. We do promos, we do skits, we do everything. Just do the hashtag WWO Live. We do have a big show coming up on January 27th, Saturday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard. You could check that out. We have a lot of great people there. And if you're interested in being part of this, then definitely go to hashtag WWO Online, or excuse me, WWO Live on Facebook and drop us a message and we'll get back to you.
And Zoe, what do you got going on in the wrestling world?
At this very second, I don't have anything going on in the wrestling world. We are still trying to get KBW up off the ground. We're working on a new building where it's going to be our home. TSW, we don't have anything going on until after the first of the year, mainly because, and Lance will agree with me, in the South, it's about to get bad with winter. So try and let that. You can follow. Yeah, you can follow me on Facebook. I do have my old account, Zoe Nightshade. That will be changing to Hayla Adenson. You can also check out my buddy Colt Wilds. He's on Facebook. He's my mentor. He's my trainer. He's one of my best friends. Check out KBW and TSW.
All right. And then we have the incomparable Lance Moss over at Lance Moss TV. Lance, what do you got going on over there?
Nothing really. I've been taking the rest of the year off, but the first Tuesday of January, we'll be back with Lance Moss TV and Friends. It's every Tuesday night at 7:05 Central, 8:05 Eastern, where we shoot the shit for about hour and a half to 2 hours.
All right, and there you have it. And keep in mind, Hardcore Wrestling Rants is here each and every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So, if you want more of Hardcore Wrestling Rants, check out our Facebook page, Wrestling Rants, where we give the latest news, rumors, and much, much more. So, for the Hardcore crew, I am your Hardcore host, Rick Head, saying, we'll see you when we see you.
Buy the shirt!